We're literally walking up the sidewalk. The seller's wife comes out onto the front porch and she's like, "You are not coming in this house." We go to settlement. She came over the table at me, screaming, threatening, she doesn't belong here. Welcome to the Fitze Is Right, where I tell you real stories about real estate deals and all the things buyers, sellers, and even agents should know about before it's too late. Jen's first moments. I don't know. Really my first day of living. I don't know what I'm doing.
All right, are we ready?
I guess. I'm just going to talk. Okay, so my husband and I, we were still not married. This was 2003, and it was during the height of the other big real estate boom where you couldn't get any houses and you were like offering. We went to go to one open house and there was like 40 people outside waiting to get in. We really just did not have a clue what we were doing and we didn't have a lot of money. And so finally we found a house in Edgewood that we're like, oh, this is really cute. And we had looked at so many houses and we were just getting beat out and we were just like, we wanted to be in a certain area, but we also wanted to be like in Harford County away from our parents. We just couldn't afford anything. So we went to go put this offer in on this house in Edgewood. It's in Harvard Square, if anybody knows where that is. And the seller was a contractor. So he was like, hey, I know that the kitchen is like original. So you can put in your offer what you want me to update the kitchen to, and we'll do that. So I was like, oh, awesome. So we got new kitchen we wrote in there new kitchen cabinets, like what color, we got new countertop, new all these things, right? And they accepted our offer. I mean, the house was literally like $72,000. Like this is not a very high ticket place. I mean, it was 2003, but it was like, you know, we were young, we couldn't afford crap. The way the contract was the sellers had to rent back for like a month after we settled. Going forward through the whole like escrow process and we were getting ready to go to settlement, we show up for the final walkthrough, which is what you're supposed to do before you go and buy a house. You walk through it to make sure it's in the same condition it was in when you saw it the first time. Us knowing though that they are renting back another month, that we knew that all their stuff was still there. The sellers now become tenants. So they pay us rent to stay there because they had to like either find another place or they were like buying new construction or like something of that nature. We're literally walking up the sidewalk. I can still see it. We're walking up the sidewalk. My realtor's in front of us and the seller's wife, who's not on the house, mind you, comes out and onto the front porch and she's like, you're not coming in here. And my agent was like, it's the final walkthrough, we are coming in. And she's like, you are not coming in this house. And she's like, well, if we don't do the walkthrough, we're not settling. And she's like, you're not coming in. So like somehow we finally got into the house. And of course it's a complete shit show because they have stuff everywhere, but we're young, we don't know what we're doing. So we leave, we go to settlement. We're all in one room. So settlement, you're at a table, you have the title person, the sellers, buyers, and the seller's wife, who wasn't on the house again, she's in there, which she shouldn't be in there. She's not a party to any of this. She starts ranting and raving. She, at one point, came over the table at me, screaming and like threatening all these things. And I was like, get her out of this room. Like she doesn't belong here. So we would have to settle in 2 separate rooms. So they moved us out into another room and left them in one room. And so we're like listening like through the wall, trying to hear what she's saying. And at the same time, I'm calling work because I like wasn't a realtor then, obviously. And I was late. I was only supposed to be gone for like an hour and a half for like settlement. And this is like hours and hours later because she's delaying it. Anyway, we go back in the room. Everybody has signed everything, but I was worried about like the security deposit and like what happens if they don't get out, because she was just like, she was crazy. I don't know where these people find me. I don't know where they find me. And so their realtor put up his commission and said they will leave the house in good condition for you and clean and empty. And if they don't, I give up my entire commission.
So that was to make you trust
that they were going to, because they were just like not doing anything that, the way the wife was, I wasn't trusting them to even leave. We're like, okay, fine. Like, this is thousands of dollars that you're putting up. Okay. So rent back is over. Little old me is going up to the house early in the morning, the day that we can get in, all excited. All my stuff is packed. I have all my friends with all their stuff, all my stuff in their cars because Chris is working, right? So he's not even there with me to walk into the mess that was left at our house, holes in the wall, trash everywhere. And the big thing was that they tore down the fence, the backyard fence, and rolled the moving truck up into the backyard, packed up all that way. So there's huge divots and no fence anymore because they didn't put the fence back. And so we have these huge things in our yard and no fence. So that agent lost his commission because we had all these pictures of all these things and he had to pay to fix it all.
But they got out.
They did get out.
Just not cleanly.
Just not cleanly. And that agent lost his whole commission, which was thousands of dollars.
And how old are you at this time?
This was 2003. We bought it in April of 2003. We got married in June of 2003. I was 26 and Chris was 25.
And this was your first ever?
Very first.
Time buying a house?
Yes.
And what was your job at the time?
I worked at a credit union. And I worked at the desk and I sat in my office all day long staring out at the world going by. So that was the first house, and 15 months later, we sold that house because we found out that the drug house was on our court, and there was a raid at the clubhouse one night, and again, my husband was working, and so I had to call him at midnight on the floor of the bedroom with all the lights off in the house because all the drug people are running by our house to get to the drug house, and the helicopters overhead, and there's cops everywhere, and I'm not gonna have a child here. So I'm like, we're moving. So the sign was up 2 weeks later and we sold, and we made $25,000 off of that house in 15 months, which was a good thing, right? Because the market was still blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so you lived there for 1 year, basically.
Yeah, awful. And that house had so many sprickets. I hated it. I was trapped in that basement one time with a spricket. Do you know what a spricket is? Mm-hmm. A spider cricket. It looks like a big old spider, but it hops at you. Yep. Like, they don't care. I had to use a whole bottle of 409 cleaner. I was down doing the laundry, and it was on the steps going up, and I couldn't, a whole bottle of 409 cleaner to try to kill that sucker. No, I'm not a fan of sprickets. Give me anything else but a spricket. I'll even take a mouth. So we moved, and our next house, we looked at this house in Abingdon, and it had 22 showings in 3 days because the market was still crazy hot, but no offers. And we're like, what? So we go there and it's trash in there. There's literally poop running down the bathroom walls. And I'm not kidding. And the lady ran a daycare in there, but she also had 7 kids. So the walk-in closet was a nursery and had border paper up, poop on the walls, but that's okay. We can clean it.
Is what you thought.
It's what we thought. It's fine. Everything's fine. So we're like, okay, well, let's buy it. So we did.
What was the price of this one at this time?
$138.
So you're like, I went up a little bit.
I went up, right? Moving up in the world from Edgewood to Abingdon. I mean, the home, it was so bad in there. Like, we had to stand outside during the home inspection because it smelled so bad. Like, it was just gross. Like, the dirt, they lived off of paper plates and plasticware. Like, they didn't, like, this lady had daycare kids in there, and she had, like, the carpets were... Anyway, we could see the vision.
But, like, if you're having kids in there, you should keep it cleanly for the kids' safety.
Right? Like, you have 7 of your own kids, plus daycare kids, and these dogs, and, like, I don't want to get into the vents and all the fuzz. Anyway, so we settle. Right? But the thing is, with that house, it was so shitty that we had to go in there and tear all the carpet and the flooring out before we could move in. So we had pre-occupancy of that house. They moved all of their stuff down to the basement, and we had access to the upper 2 levels to start tearing everything out. And by doing that, you waive the final walkthrough. Okay. So we had all the kitchen floor torn out, we had all the carpet torn out, like everywhere. We go to settle like a week later and all is good. We go finally move all of our stuff in because all of their stuff from the basement is now out because they just moved it all out. And we were actually at the settlement for the first house, and my sister-in-law calls, and because she's at the new house, and she's like, hey, the basement carpet's soaked. And we're like, what? And she's like, yeah, the wall's wet and the basement carpet is soaked. And we're like, okay. So we get back to the house after the, and the carpet in the one corner was completely soaked, and it was soaked halfway up the wall. So we call our agent, and she calls the other agent, and that agent is like, oh, let me call them. So he called the sellers, and they're like, oh yeah, we had a stain on the wall. So we just squirted, the kids put some water on it and squirted it off right? Okay, sure. So we pull the carpet up, and there's black mold everywhere. And so then my husband cuts the drywall, and there's black mold going all up the joists in the wall. And it had been leaking for God knows how long, but nobody saw it because during the inspection, an inspector's not allowed to move furniture out of the way. And the parents lived in the basement because all the kids were up. So they had 3 kids in the master bedroom, and they had bunk beds in the other rooms. And so their bedroom was in the basement. So they had a big bed and nightstands and all the dressers and all this thing. So you couldn't see any of the wall. And then they had all their stuff down there when we preoccupied and was tearing the house apart. So we didn't see anything down there either. So we had to pay to have the whole entire basement waterproofed and a new sump pump put in. So this was, and back then it was between $3,000 and $4,000. We just spent all of our money
On the house.
buying this house. We had the drug house and drug and spricket house, and then we have the mold house, and we are flat broke, we are young, we have nothing. And so we tried to take them to court, and like all the neighbors knew that they had water issues, but nobody would go to court for us because they didn't want to get involved. So I mailed them a letter and said we've reached out to an attorney, all the things, nothing. We had to pay for all of it because we waived the final walkthrough, because we preoccupied.
So what ended up, did you ever get money back?
No, nothing. Never. Because we had to prove in court that they knew about it, and nobody would go to court for us, and then they never responded. And then my realtor at the time stopped responding, because you probably don't know this, but once your settlement is done, your contract with your realtor is done. So they are not obligated to help you any further at all.
You didn't use that realtor again, did you?
No. The second time. I used the same realtor for the first house, second house. The crazy thing is, that was the cleanest room of the house. And because we had torn apart everything else, we slept in that basement for 3 months while we were rehabbing the whole rest of the house. So with the mold up the wall, we hadn't fixed it yet. We hadn't fixed it yet because we were still in the process, and we were broke. So every time it rained, we were still sleeping down there. Because we couldn't on a mattress on the floor.
After you knew about the mold.
Yeah, because we couldn't afford to fix it yet, and we were in the middle of everything else.
And then what do you basically front the money? You're like, this sucks.
Finally, we had to pay. We had to pay the waterproofing company to come in and put a new sump pump in and jack up our entire thing. And that's when I found out. Remember, I told you when we were going to look at those houses over there, the builder of those houses in that neighborhood cut corners when they did the piping in the basement. So instead of using corner pieces, they just bent the piping. And so it's all rust, over the years, it's all rusted out. And then water comes up in every corner of those basements. So every time I go to sell one over there or look at one over there, I'm immediately going to the corners to see if it's been waterproofed or fixed.
Don't cut corners.
Exactly.
How long did you live there?
Lived there for 10 years.
Wow.
I know. I loved it. It We loved it there. It was our 5-year house. We stayed there for 10.
So what ended up making you, like, how did that experience make you then say, I'm now becoming a realtor?
Because after both of those experiences, like the lady coming out and be like, you're not coming in this house, and like her was coming over the table at me at settlement and how horrible it was, and then like this whole like mold water situation, like that is not how it's supposed to be when you buy a house. Like this should be like so exciting, like you should be like all giddy and like, oh my gosh, and like decorating and having the Pinterest boards, and just this should be like one of the best days of your life, and you shouldn't have to deal with this kind of crap. I don't want anyone to have to deal with this, like at all. Like I had a client last week text me a week after they moved in that the washer broke, and I'm like, oh my God, like I feel like I'm like, okay, like what can we do? Like what can we, yeah, I don't want anybody to have to deal with anything like that. But if something does go wrong, please call me. I've had people call me 5 years later, Jen, my ceiling's leaking. I'm like, ah, like, like I don't know what to do.
I feel like you're so particular about like, you know what I mean? Like you don't really sell a bad house to people. And I think a lot of realtors might, especially younger ones, might just want to make a quick sale. And they're like, okay, I need to just, like they're thinking from their side of selling the house. But do you think that experience shaped you to definitely not sell a bad house? And then
well, it's not me about me selling a bad house. It's me about me looking out for people's best interest. Yeah. Like, I mean, if I have an investor going in and he wants the worst house, the better, great. But if I have people that going in, they're young and have like no money and are just not inexperienced with houses, like we're having all the inspections, we're going through all of that. Like I want to make sure that you're buying something that's solid and we're not going to have problems later. So my lesson for everyone is never to preoccupy, is to never let anyone preoccupy, to never ask to preoccupy, and never waive the final walkthrough, ever.
Do you think you've noticed, like, again, maybe missing out on a quick sale because you're like, I don't like this
I'm
house?
not worried about a quick sale.
Do you think you've noticed over time and can tell other realtors that that's actually helped because you've had people come back to you 10 years later to buy the next house or a family member, but that's because
they know that I'm going to take care of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they can trust me. I don't have commission breath. I don't care. I just want you to be happy and not spend $300,000 for a key for a moldy house.
So it's better to have long-term relationships with people then.
I love my people. So make sure you stay tuned for the next episode where I am going to divulge all the facts of what can and can't happen when you have a nightmare when you're buying a house and how you can and can't get out of it. So stay tuned.